Hi everyone, Happy New Year and welcome to my brand new YouTube channel, The Travelling Yogi. I am coming at you today from the beautiful Ubud in Bali, and by the end of this video I'm going to be sharing with you my top tips for sticking to your January goals from a wellness point of view, so without getting burnt out and run down, and really looking after you to start the year feeling your very best from within. So before we get started, I thought I would just introduce myself a little bit. So you're like, well, why should I listen to you? So I came from a performing background, and in the pandemic, when I had time away from that, I really realised that for someone who had, been on stage and talked in front of thousands of people and sang and danced, I actually had no self-confidence. So lockdown, obviously everything stopped, and I really got into looking after me and eating clean, because again, for a dancer I had the most horrendous diet. Used to love chicken nuggets, wagon wheels, pot noodles, and there's nothing wrong with that, but that was my go-to every single day, let alone the drinking and the energy drinks, but that's another story, and it is all about balance, so you live and you learn. So anyway, I got into looking after myself, and I actually started traveling, and I really just felt like I'd found another purpose in life as well as performing, exploring the world and just feeling free and living life on my terms again. And then I got into yoga, and it completely changed my life. For the first time ever, I actually had time to check in with my mind and what was going on, and it just led me down this path to wellness. And yeah, fast forward a couple years later, I have my own wellness community on Facebook. I have an online sanctuary, and I run retreats. I actually came out to Bali to teach yoga at a retreat, and I got to do the retreat myself, which was amazing. So I've done lots of healing, lots of work on myself, and now I just want to share with other women, because it's really made my life so much better. So you're in the right place, and I just want to share my love of well-being with you. So thank you so much for being here. Now obviously we've just had Christmas. This is when you start to see so much new year, new me, all that jazz, and it's so much pressure. And actually after Christmas, if you're anything like me and love Christmas, it can actually be quite a difficult time, because we've just had all this amazing stuff going on, and then it's like you're thrown back in the deep end. There's so much pressure. Everywhere you look, people are talking about dieting and getting back to it and booking marathons, and it can feel a lot of pressure, especially when you're getting back, especially if you're a busy mum. This is a lot of women that I work with. You're thrown straight back into the school run, and your kids might not want to go to school, and you've got to get back to work, and you want to feel fit and healthy again. And there's a lot of pressure, and when we put too much pressure on our goals, we either end up giving up and obviously feeling defeated, or we can end up burning out. And after Christmas we should actually really look after ourselves, um, because as well, like, not only we're on a bit of a come down from Christmas and New Year, but it's dark and it's very cold. We're not seeing as much daylight as we'd like, and we know that this can obviously affect our mental well-being. So there's so much pressure, and it's so important to look after yourself. So what I do inside my wellness community, and what's coming up from the 8th of February, I have a free group on Facebook, and I go live in there 3 times a week with wellness sessions. So rather than New Year, New Me, we're all about New Year, Better Me, and we're all about sustainable habits that are going to stick with you this year to make you feel good from within. Because yes, we can all do the yoga, we can eat right, we can get up early, but we need to actually feel good from within. And we need to get excited about the year ahead to give us that enthusiasm and that that drive to actually stick to our goals. So things like creating your vision board and actually getting really, really excited, and not limiting yourself to what you can do this year, and actually really thinking big, and yeah, just talking to yourself in a lot nicer way, because as women, it's something let's be honest, we don't always do. So if you would like to join, the link is in the description below this video. I would love to see you in there. Everybody who joins get a free onboarding call with myself, so I can get to know you and what your wellness goals are, and I can make sure I can support you throughout January. So, a few little tips from me for today's video. First one is movement. Movement is so important for getting those good endorphins, and obviously when we move more, we feel better and we get more energy and we can detoxify and boost the immune system. So movement is an absolute must. And I don't mean you need to go and book a marathon and run 10K every day. This is little and often, okay? So whenever you've got to walk somewhere, can we turn it into a bit of a power walk? Could we walk to the shops rather than drive to the shops? And yes, I know it's cold and dark, but we can wrap up warm, and actually getting that fresh air and that daylight is so important, especially if you're someone that works in an office or from home. It's so good to get out in nature and, see actual daylight. So movement, yes, that can be yoga, that can be running. But what I say to my women that I help in my wellness community is it's about a range of movement. If we all were to run every day, that's one extreme. But equally, if we were to be a couch potato, that's another extreme. It's finding that balance. When your body's feeling tired, let's do some gentle yoga. When your body's feeling energized, let's use that energy and let's get out on a power walk or do a dance class to boost your mood. It's just listening to your body. It's actually so simple, but we just overcomplicate it. And something I love talking about as well is hormones. And what I've listened to, what I've been taught is to actually now listen to my body when it's my time of the month. And just like, when it's your period time, you might not necessarily want to go and pound your joints and do a run and socialize loads and be out there. It's just about listening from within and not pushing yourself, because that's what leads to that burnout, injuries, mental exhaustion as well. So yes, movement, moving as much as you can, whatever feels good for your body. If you want to dance around your kitchen, please do it. It's so good for you. Obviously, to get your steps in, burn some calories, but more importantly, what it does for your mental well-being. So movement is number one. Number two is mindfulness. Now, mindfulness is something I love learning about, learning new ways, and on my wellness community, I'm constantly getting new people to come in and try different mindfulness practices with my members. So mindfulness can look like journal, meditation, it can also look like self-care, that kind of thing. But especially in January, when we do think about, what we want to bring into this year, what we want to leave behind. Also, obviously, if the weather's making us feel a little bit down and the darkness and maybe the post-Christmas blues, things like journaling, meditation, time to really check in with you and just really acknowledge what's going on in your mind without any judgment, and rather than pushing through it, actually stopping and listening. It's like if you had an injury, you wouldn't go and you wouldn't carry on pushing through because it's going to lead to obviously something worse. It's the same with our minds. If we're feeling down, if we're feeling mentally exhausted and drained, if we keep pushing through, that's when we really end up burning out. So mindfulness practices, exploring as many of them as you can, is so amazing. And that's why I do at least one a week on my wellness community, because not everything is for everyone, but when you find what works for you and you can integrate it into your daily life easy, whether that's affirmations in the morning when you're brushing your teeth, or whether that's a meditation before you go to sleep, it's so amazing, so we don't burn out mentally. And then finally, menstruation. So like I said, I've been really learning about the hormone cycle and how we can naturally balance our hormones. And the two best ways to balance your hormones is through stress management and through what you're putting in your body. So if you're not already, it really helps if you can start tracking your cycle to know where you're at. So your first day of your bleed, that's your menstrual phase, and then it's about tracking. Obviously there's apps out there, but you can physically track it by just, writing a few notes on how you're feeling, how your hunger levels are, any physical symptoms, and just, how you're generally feeling. It's so important to check in, and that's how you can really track your cycle naturally and obviously eventually work with your cycle. So general tips for hormones, because, I could really talk about this topic all day. There's so much to it. But just general tips is, especially around that time of the month when you are bleeding, you really want to keep yourself warm, especially your womb and especially your feet. So your lower back, making sure we're wrapped up nice and warm, but also warmth from within. So eating really nice warming foods like your stews and your soups, and like getting loads of leafy greens, dark green veg like your kale and your broccoli in there. Warming drinks as well, like nice herbal teas. If you suffer with stomach cramps, ginger tea is amazing for that. So keeping yourself really warm, and of course reducing stress as much as possible. And that's where your movement and your mindfulness comes into it, because that's how we can reduce our stress management. So obviously all this is amazing, but it's really hard to actually stay consistent because life is so busy, and it's such a shift going from Christmas time off, you know, socializing, to then straight back into routine and focusing on the new year and pressure and everything else. So in my wellness community, as well as obviously an onboarding call with myself, we have a supportive group chat where we inspire each other, we motivate each other, and we're very honest. You know, if someone's having a down day and needs a little pick me up, somebody else might say, hey, I listened to this podcast this morning, it really, really motivated me. We share our wins, we share what we're grateful for, and it's really nice having a safe online space that isn't necessarily close friends and family, so you can offload and be honest and not feel like you're burdening or worrying, you know, a friend or a family member. So that's really, really important too. And of course, I'm going to be coming at you once a week at least with these lovely videos. We're going to be doing things from yoga to dance classes. We're going to be doing mindfulness. I'm going to be giving you self-care practices. So obviously make sure you hit that subscribe button and you can stay up to date with all my latest videos. But what I do want to say is, if you can focus on anything this week after the craziness of Christmas, it's just looking after you. It's gradually working your way back into your goals and not going straight in at the deep end. It's like when you finished your bleed and your hormonal cycle, we don't just want to dive straight back into the HIIT workouts and the running and putting loads of pressure on ourselves. We want to gradually, you know, build up to that. And that's the same what you can do with your January goals to make sure that they last. If you can take anything away from this video today, it's look after you, start the year prioritizing your well-being, because it really does set the foundations for the year ahead. And if you have any questions on anything I've spoke about today, then please feel free to just drop a comment underneath here, or you can message me. My Instagram is the Traveling Yogi, and on my wellness Instagram, wanderlust.wellness_, I share daily wellness tips, everything around movement, mindfulness and menstruation. I also share some nice, delicious, healthy, easy recipes as well, so make sure to check that out. All the links are in the description. But I want to say thank you so much for watching my first video. I'm so excited to see where this channel takes us, and forever grateful for all the love and support. And I'm sending you so much love from Bali. Have an amazing first week of January, and I will see you in next week's video, where I'm going to bring you some lovely yoga to boost that immune system and get the energy going. Lots of love, guys. Mwah.